Good morning and welcome to our live crafting session this morning. My name's Jenny McCormack and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire here in the UK. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are joining us live, do say hi. It's lovely to know who's watching with us live. If you're watching on catch up or replay, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube, then if you have any queries or comments, just pop them in the comment section. If it is a question, then I will endeavour to answer that to you directly. If for any reason I haven't responded, just send another message or email me, jenny@jeminicrafts.co.uk, and the message will then get through. So good morning. This week we are featuring retiring products from our annual and our January to April catalogue. This catalogue finishes at the end of April, and we have a brand new annual catalogue that starts in May. A third, I would say, roughly, of the items in here have been carried over, and a third or so have been retired. And when Stampin' Up retire products, then often, not always, they are discounted depending on the stock levels. So what I'll be featuring this week is retiring products that are discounted, and I will check each day that those items are still in stock. Obviously once they go out of stock, then they've gone. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to feature some of those items. Morning, Catherine. So today we're featuring Hydrangea Haven, which you can find on page 111 of our annual catalogue. It's probably easier if I show you the actual stamp set, I think, rather than the catalogue page. So this is a big stamp set. There are 22 stamps in there, but they're much bigger than you see on the cover. The cover print is 75% of the actual size. So if I pick up this stamp here, you can see this is the image here, and that's the larger version of it in real life. It has a stunning hydrangea, both an outline and some backgrounds. So we've got the green, the leaves, you've got the flower head itself, you've got some smaller flowers and an infill excuse me, and then smaller ones again and some leaves, and then you've got a little pretty set of flowers and leaves here at the bottom. Not sure that you can see those or not. And it's got a lot of sentiments. You make me smile, I appreciate all the little things you do, to an incredible woman, congrats, thank you, love you, with love, for you. So a really nice mix, and there's also this really useful watercolour wash that you can use behind or just on its own. I'm going to be using this with the dies. So this stamp set was originally £24, which is still good value for 22 stamps. It's now only £10 while it's available, and I think that's really good value. This is also our coffee and card design for this week, today in Toaster and tomorrow in Brackley. So this is the card that we're going to make, and it's a mixture of the stamps and the dies. The dies themselves, if you have a die cutting machine, are also fabulous. Let's take that one off here. I won't get them all out, but you had this one die that cuts out all of those flowers. 9, I think it is. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 flowers, individual flowers. It cuts out this flower head here, and you can bring these little petals out. If you have the patience, I have to say. Like so. Hope you can see that. And that's that particular die. And then you have an outline die that cuts the stamp, but also you have this one that can cut the leaves out. So you can cut the leaves and the flowers completely separately and make a set using those. As well as that, the dies cut out the individual elements of the flowers, and there's two tag dies. One's a nice useful little oval, rectangle I should say, and the other is a little tag. And the dies are just £12, and again that's while stocks last. These are the two useful little tags. This one has got stitching around the edge, and this one has got a little hole for some thread. Morning Dee. Hi Kerry, thanks for joining us. So that is Hydrangea Haven. Now I am ordering today, so if anybody wants to take advantage of that, then please do. So this is the card that I'm going to make. I'm going to change the colours. I'm going to use Balmy Blue and Orchid Oasis, and I've cut out some of those flowers already. I know they're very small, or at least it looks very small on my screen. And let's get cracking. I have put the link to the stamp set up on the screen during the live, so hopefully that will be showing. So if you want to see it online, you can do. Okay, now I'm using my Stamparatus, but you can just put this on a block. Sadly, the Stamparatus is retired, and it's completely sold out. But for bigger stamps, this is perfect, and most of my customers have one of these already. So I'm just going to pop my die cut here. This is the cut with the scallop contours, one of my favourite die sets. And I'm just going to pop my stamp roughly in there. Just about fits, doesn't it? Not much to play with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this in early espresso, of course, and then I'm going to do a little bit of colouring here, and then I'm going to stamp the background and add in those lovely little petals. I'm also going to show you that you could just colour the whole thing in. If you're really into colouring, this makes a stunning card when just coloured. So let's do that first. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I had a busy-ish weekend, but not manically busy. Healthily busy, is that a good, can you say that? I don't know. Okay, so this is the image with the hydrangea petal and flowers. So pretty. There it is, like that. Okay, so if you're into colouring, you can of course colour that whole design. I'll take my glasses off. So I'm going to do the leaves. You could also use the stamp here that colours those in for you. What I would say is it's a stamp that just gives a watercolour effect, so it doesn't fit those leaves exactly. So if you don't like that effect of it being just sort of slightly not fitting, then you may want to colour them in. So I'm just going to use, this is light old olive, just adding a little bit of detail here. So with our new catalogue coming out, I'm waiting for my delivery of catalogues. So if you're coming to class or coffee and card, then I will bring them along as soon as I have the opportunity. What's this one? Light granny apple green. And if you're a customer of mine who places orders, or you take my class in a box, then you'll have one sense to you. Okay, so I'm not doing a masterclass on colouring, just colouring those in fairly lightly. I'm not going to the edge, I'm just leaving a little bit of white. And I do like to use multiple greens because then you get that nice effect. And then for the stalk, just the lightest of touches for that, like so. So you can go on and do that in more detail. And then when you want to do the flower, you can of course colour those in. As I say, if you're into colouring. If you're not, then you can skip this step, but you can just literally go in, colour these elements. So this is Dark Pool Party, like so, and then you could use a lighter one all the way over, if I can see it. Yes, right at the bottom. Light Pool Party. So then you could literally just go over the rest of the area, and you'll get some colouring in. Not that there's much ink in that, I don't think. So it'd be fairly easy to colour that in, and you could have highlights of different colours. But what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to stamp that background colour and then add our little flowers that I've already die cut. So my choice of colours is Balmy Blue. Really must wash all my ink pads. And let's grab that outline. Let's pop it on there. So you don't have to do this step if you don't want to. You can just put the pieces straight down. I'm just going to grab a mat. Go. And this is a watercolour look, so it's not a solid image. And if I stamp it, you'll see what I mean about it being over the edge, like so. So can you see it's not an exact match, and in fact I've tilted it slightly, but that's fine, because what we're going to do is use our die cut flowers to go over it. And the only reason I stamped the backgrounds, and you could just use the blends pens, is so that I haven't got white in between. And so all I'm going to do is take my multi-purpose glue, and you can use the flower heads that are in there, or you can literally just place dots around. You can bend these little petals up and just pop one on, and I recommend you use something to push it down that's not your fingers, so that you don't get covered in glue. Hi Zara. So we're literally going to pop these down. And you could just put a few on if you wanted to, or you could literally cover the whole flower. And I recommend putting the glue on the card, not on your flower. So So I'm just using the top of a pencil, but a pokey tool would be perfect for this. So I'm using balmy blue that I've cut out. Obviously hydrangeas are all different colours, traditionally blues, pinks, purple. There's often a sort of light brown in there. So I'm just going to pop these down. So bend the petals and things up if you wish. And then I'm going to dot a few of the darker Orchid Oasis flowers in. So I'm not even following the stamped flowers. There we go. This is where I need to fast forward, isn't it? But you can all tell me about your weekends and what you've been up to. Whether you've been away or spent time with family. These little petals are also embossed. They have little embossed lines. There's no point me showing the camera because I don't think it'll pick it up online on a live video. And obviously you could use these in other different ways, scattered around. I can see teeth marks from Cassie. So I'll try and do this as quick as I can. Oh, bless you. Happy birthday then, if it's your birthday, Zana. There we go. Is it? Oh yes, it is a sticky sheet on my Stamparatus. Sorry, I've only just seen that comment. Yes, it's just useful for holding things down and not needing magnets. Right, I'm going to do this as quick as I can, but without making too much of a mess with any luck. So this is our coffee and card design at Toaster. They had great fun with it on Friday, some really nice colour combinations. And this is, so there are 9 sets of petals in the die. This one here. And I do love that it's one die. It makes it so much easier than having to put lots of little ones down. Oops. And of course you could decorate these with gems and things as well if you wished. Right. I'm getting there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of those little tags for my sentiment. Okay. There we go. So if the quick way of doing this, if you wished, would be to use the die cut and fold these petals up like so, like that, and then you could put that on your stamped version, but I prefer this personally. I just think it gives a nice 3D effect, and obviously you can then have different colours added in. So you can put these close together, you can have them just dotted, it's entirely up to you, and you could put a gem on each of those as well if you wanted to. Oh yes, it would definitely would for no line watercolouring. It's a lovely set. Pale grey or crumb cake would work. Okay, just going to put a couple more on and that's it. Also you can go as many as you would like. I'll just put one down there. There we go. Okay, so you could carry on. That's enough. So it just gives a really nice, pretty effect. So I've got some layers and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So I've got a white base card, I've got balmy blue, but I could also use Orchid Oasis for that. But what I'm going to do on the background of that is stamp those little flowers to give it a little bit more interest. So I've got this little stamp with the flowers, and what I'm going to do is stamp this in the darker blue. You could stamp it in the light blue if you wanted a really light backing. Let's grab a piece of paper to protect my mat. Okay, so these are those sort of individual sets of flowers, and what I'm going to do is just stamp them around the edge. Oh, that was lucky, wasn't it? Phew. Saved. Okay, so just turning this round, try not to get the ink on my fingers and on the card, and if I do I shall just turn it over on the spare side. So this is such a pretty little stamp in its own right, I think. So hopefully you can see that detail on there. Okay, so I'm just turning it, although I am just sort of stamping them quite close together, so I really should have chosen a smaller block. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Yes, that will definitely work. And then let's grab one of those little tags and I'll stamp, let's see, for you, I think. Or thank you, maybe. It's a nice sort of curly style. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's put that all together. So I'm going to pop this layer down, and I think what I will probably do is stamp some of those flowers along the edge on the inside, just in this corner here. I've just pinned my thank you stamp away. It's funny, isn't it, how sometimes the smallest little stamp is the most effective. Ooh, that was close. Because it's an uneven shape, it's easy just to sort of infill where you need it. Like that. There we go. And you could do the same on the envelope as well. I knew I was going to do that. I don't really want to put that on the inside. So let's just grab another card. And do this again. Right. Let's take two. And I can tell you why that happened. Well, mostly why it happened is because I've got too big a block for this, because all of my blocks are in the car ready for coffee and card. And so I've got a bigger block. She's slightly thinner as well. It's not one of our normal ones, it's one of our kit blocks. Okay, we've got there. Okay, let's pop that on there, fold that over. Okay, here's our layer on top. So this is Balmy Blue, not retiring, and Orchid Oasis, which is one of our in colours for this next year. Like so. Okay, I'm going to pop this, I'm just going to put this flat actually, but I could pop it on dimensionals because it's got a little bit of dimension in the flowers as it is. There we go. It's almost like crazy paving, those little flowers around the edge. And then I've got my little thank you that I'm going to pop up on dimensionals and just thread a little bit of baker's twine through it. And I happen to have some Orchid Oasis baker's twine. I've also got the other in colour baker's twine, but I think that will do nicely. Or you could just use white. Just grab some scissors and thread it through. So this says thank you, but it's got some nice little sentiments. Like so. I think I'm going to go straight but off the edge so that you actually see it. There we go. Just one on the back. There we go. like so. And what you can do is just put a glue dot onto there, or even just a little dot of glue to hold this in place. There we go. So there's our finished card. Let me have a look at any comments and the like. There we go. So that is Hydrangea Haven. The stamp set here in the UK is £10 while stocks last, and the dies are £12. So really good value even if you bought one or the other. So I might go back in and add a bit more detail to those leaves, and you could also add a few gems in the centre of the flowers if you wished. So thank you so much. I have popped a link on the live, but I'll also pop a link when I post the photograph of these, and you'll be able to watch this on replay, and that will also have the link in too. So do join us tomorrow. Just show you the edges of that, and there's the inside. Thank you, Kerry. Thank you everybody for your lovely comments. So I'm back tomorrow, Tuesday at 7 p.m. With another retiring bargain stamp set. So I hope you're able to join me. Obviously, what I'm showing you here, if you're in a different country, may still not be available, so please check with your local demonstrator, or if you're a demonstrator, check on your own website whether that is available. The easiest way to do is go to stampinup.uk in our case, and then if you search for Hydrangea in the search bar, it will tell you if it is available and what the price is in your country. Thank you so much everybody. Do take care, enjoy the rest of your day. I've just had a UPS delivery with some new products, so I'm going to find my thank you stamp set that I knocked off the table, grab a coffee and open my box. Thank you so much everyone. Do take care. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.